Welcome to the 18th annual Sparks City Hop Tour. My name is Adora, and my husband and co-host is
Eric.
And right into Lolly the Trolley there, we've got Brian, who is our wonderful driver for today. And we're going to be taking you into North Coast Harbor and the east side of the Flats.
You know, these are unprecedented times, but we could not resist the opportunity to share parts of Cleveland with you on this wonderful Sparks tour.
And we want to make sure and do a shout out to our sponsors today, K&D Real Estate Development and Management Services. All over Greater Cleveland, they provide residents with comfortable and accommodating living environments, professionally cared for and managed by a terrific staff with the sole purpose to serve the residents by creating an awesome sense of community. We're so grateful for their help in making this virtual experience possible.
On this tour, we're going to be going, as Adora mentioned, to the North Coast Harbor, as well as the east bank of the Flats. We'll be visiting different places. Some of them will be open during this era of the pandemic, but socially distanced. So we'll encourage you, if you get inspired, to put on your comfortable shoes and your mask and come see some of the sights. But before we do that, let's share them with you. Let's jump on the trolley. Now, we find ourselves at Playhouse Square, which is the heart of the theater district here in Cleveland. It's a special place in my heart because I'm a theater artist, and this is a wonderful place to participate in making theater and also to celebrate theater. Playhouse Square was created, the 5 main theaters of Playhouse Square, between the years of 1921 and 1922. Now, they have a long span of history, and what's kind of cool about it is my grandparents went on dates at Playhouse Square, my parents went on dates at Playhouse Square, and Adora and I have gone on dates at Playhouse Square. We'll see what our boys do when time comes, but thank goodness it's here, because when the theater started to become less used as the population moved in Cleveland, the population moved to the suburbs, the theaters kind of fell into disuse in the 70s, 60s and 70s, but thankfully a movement in the 80s resurrected the theaters, and now we have the theater complex here. Over 1,000 performances happen in a theater season here in Cleveland, and the touring shows last for 3 weeks for each one of the productions, which really gives an indication of how popular and how strong the arts are in Cleveland. An equally strong component of that are the 2 main regional professional theaters that are based here. The wonderful Cleveland Playhouse, which I've had the good fortune of working with many people with, and Great Lakes Theater, another wonderful classically based theater based here in Cleveland and Playhouse Square. So, Brian, let's take a run through Playhouse Square if we could. We're going to go underneath one of the most iconic parts of Playhouse Square. If you've been down here, you know what I'm talking about. It is the chandelier, the 85,000 pounds, 8,500 pounds? It's 8,500 pounds, I think.
8,500,
It is
not
the
8,500.
largest
8,500.
chandelier, outdoor chandelier in the country.
It's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah, it is. And Cleveland's been there for many reasons, but thankfully this is one of them. And it really acts as a beacon to bring people to this area and to celebrate the wonderfulness of the city and how the city is transforming itself.
And Eric talked a lot about, or a little bit about, the restoration of Public Square. And as you look around, you can tell that there's a lot of businesses here in Public Square, and driving a lot, inviting us all downtown. One of these restaurants specifically is the Hofbräu House of Cleveland. It's a Cleveland favorite, and it was right down Chester. We just passed it. And so if you're looking for an authentic taste of Germany, this is the place to go. An on-site brewery creates amazing Bavarian beers and ales. The menu offers you the opportunity to sample schnitzel, goulash, pierogies, pretzels, and so much more. Speaking Eric's language, there's usually even some live music by a polka band of some sort, and the servers are all in authentic dress. So it's like visiting It's a Small World after all, without having to pay to go to Disney or anything like that.
No, we celebrate it right here in Cleveland. Now, speaking of Cleveland, we are coming onto the border of Cleveland State University right here in lovely Playhouse Square's eastern border. Cleveland State started in 1965 when it took over Fenn College. Fenn College holds a place in my heart because my dear Uncle Art started his college education at Fenn. He later went on to be a Roman Catholic priest, but he had wonderful stories about going to Fenn and then walking down to Municipal Stadium to watch a baseball game. Cleveland State took over Fenn College in 1965. There are now over 200 different different programs to study from. Two of the ones that are really quite exciting. Well, one of them will pass right here, the Business College, the Monte Rouge College of Business. Also, as a theater artist, I love to celebrate the renovated theater program, which is in partnership with Playhouse Square. And then in Idea Center, there's a brand new film department. It's one of the only standalone film departments in the state of Ohio, right here at Cleveland State University. So we're going to come right here to Becky's Restaurant. I want to make sure we mention Becky's because as a theater guy, Becky's has a great standing and a bit of history. There's a story, as I understand it, that the stagehands will run by on breaks, on skateboards and roller skates to grab a break at Becky's right there. They have wonderful drinks, but they also have great tater tots. I know they come in these tater tots, kind of come in these big baskets. And I've been to many a meeting at Becky's with the wonderful tater tots. Right over next door to our left is the facility for the soccer team for the Cleveland State.
So I think here we go. So there's a lot of people creating art in downtown Cleveland. I want to point out Bishop Cosgrove Center on our left here. They started an extraordinary program called Heart of the Street. It's unique, has a powerful mission. It engages individuals who are really experiencing challenging circumstances, specifically homelessness, with a wide range of art instruction. So beyond the individual pieces of art created, it's a platform for folks to really increase self-expression, self-esteem, self-confidence, and think about creative problem solving as they tackle the many challenges they're facing.
It's important to give a chance to express what's going on in your life and also to give validity to the experiences that you're having in a whole array of different ways.
Yeah, and as we go by Superior, we won't go down there, but I want to notice that I want to point out the Tower Press building. It's one of the most famous destinations in what's called the Superior Arts District. It's comprised of several former garment district warehouses, the district is, and it's now home to so many artists, studios, galleries, living spaces, arts-related businesses. We have done tours that have gone that way in the past. We want to encourage you to take a stroll down Superior and check out the Superior Arts District.
Lots of fine arts located in that wonderfully renovated building. We talked about the renovation of Playhouse Square. There's a number of areas in Cleveland on all of these parks tours where the really main theme is renovation, rethinking, repurposing, rejuvenation, using your imagination to see something in a new light. And that's certainly the cornerstone of what's happening in Cleveland these days. One of the things that inspires us. Speaking of inspiration, we'll be going right now to North Coast Harbor. There's two things that really sort of stand out in my mind about North Coast Harbor. One of them is the wonderful vistas. We're heading north, so we're going to be heading towards Lake Erie. And the vistas of the lake are just wonderful. It's so easy to forget sometimes, I think, as a native Clevelander, that we have this wonderful resource at our northern border, that we actually live on a lake. And, it is a wonderful, wonderful place to come, especially in these tense times with the coronavirus, to come and relax for a second in the outdoor space. It's also the location, North Coast Harbor, of some of the most iconic institutions in Cleveland, and some of the reasons why people come to visit Cleveland as tourists.
I want to notice that we probably will be talking about something else, but the Noble Beast Brewing Company makes its home right on the corner of East 16th and Lakeside. It's a small family business with some big hospitality and some big flavors. Sean brews traditional and experimental beers, and his wife Jo Lynn runs HR and keeps books. Their friend James creates and adapts farm fresh and seasonal menus that are a little bit beyond what you expect in traditional brewery food. You combine these talents with a friendly staff and an amazing space. and you have a winner, and it's a great place to hang out. And it's right there.
It is right there, the Nova Beast. As we're passing it, also across the street from the Nova Beast is the stately FBI building. I like to mention the FBI building because it reminds me of how important Cleveland is as a city in the United States. We have our own FBI building right here on the North Coast. And there's WKYC.
Oh, yeah. So if you watch the news, you'll be familiar with WKYC Belt. We just passed it. But what many people don't know, that building is also home to the Greater Cleveland Film Commission. And the staff there, they work incredibly hard to attract the film industry professionals to make movies in Ohio. And they also support local filmmakers to build a media infrastructure right here at home. Kind of important to us because we have a son who's interested in the industry, and I'm sure many of you have relatives who are also lured by that. In the past decade, the media industry has generated more than $700 million of revenue for the state and more than 5,000 jobs.
Now, to your left is Willard Park, and in the front of Willard Park is another iconic image in Cleveland, which is the Free Stamp. Free Stamp, some Clevelanders may remember, was actually commissioned by Standard Oil. It was originally done at Public Square near the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial. It was intended to celebrate the emancipation of Black Americans as a result of the Civil War. However, when Standard Oil was purchased by BP, there was discussion that possibly the Free Stamp was being misunderstood. And so it was donated to Cleveland and placed in Willard Park right there where it stands proudly. Usually in the summertime, there have been food trucks that come on Fridays. There's a food truck Friday,
Supported by the city of Cleveland.
Supported by the city of Cleveland, where they have live music and food trucks out there.
And now we're passing under the Cleveland Memorial Shoreway, and not many people know that construction on the Shoreway began in 1936 as the largest Cleveland infrastructure project as part of FDR's Works Progress Administration.
WPA.
WPA. It was extended during the 30s and 40s and then was finally widened and completed in 1953. After World War II, it was named Memorial to commemorate the veterans who bravely fought in service of our country. And
it's also a really important artery in Cleveland. So Clevelanders, you will know that most of us at some point use that Shoreway in some fashion to get from one place to the other. We had a son that went to St. Edward's High School, so we constantly were using the Shoreway to get from the east side to the west side. Now, we've taken a chance to take a long stop and celebrate one of the cornerstones of Cleveland in the modern era, and that's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I can remember, I don't know if you do, but I remember in 1985, I worked at Peaches Records and Tapes. I don't know if you remember Peaches Records and Tapes, but I worked at the Peaches, and we offered people to sign up for the petition to get the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to come to Cleveland. And it was sort of a pipe dream in many ways. I remember as a young man, I was like, I don't see how that's ever going to happen. It's never going to come to Cleveland. Why would it ever come to Cleveland? And lo and behold, we have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as one of our assets right here. And if you haven't been there, there's some wonderful exhibits celebrating the long history and the diversity of rock and roll. We've taken our sons there at different times. It used to be, for our oldest son, he and I used to take one of our lunches every week. We would go and have our lunch over at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's concerts and other celebrations that happen here. So hooray, rock and roll.
Right. And then next up, if that's not enough, is the Great Lakes Science Center, the perfect place for the hands-on learner in your household, whether they're a kid or an adult. And we have spent many, many weekends with our kids and with other people's kids and family friends. The mission of the center is to make science, technology, engineering, and math come alive for everyone. And this is accomplished with a lot of interactive and innovative experiential models, displays, machines, panels. You can let children burn energy in the playground. You can spend that entire day there trying things out. It's not just for school-age children, homeschoolers, adults, anyone interested in science can find an activity that they will
Intergenerational.
adore. It is intergenerational.
And right behind the Great Lakes Science Center is Voinovich Park. It's named after Cleveland, one of Cleveland's own sons, George Voinovich, who was mayor, governor, and senator here in Ohio. It's a place for cultural exploration and celebration. There's a fireworks, you will know, that happened there on the 4th of July. There's also the Good Time 3 goes out of there.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to come back to that because we are right outside of the Cleveland Brown Stadium, and I'm going to let you talk about that.
And there are 3 gentlemen on their bikes right now, and they're waving at us. And they look up at FirstEnergy Cleveland Brown Stadium. Now, Dora mentions that because I love the Cleveland Browns. Now, I have to admit, my mother was a huge Browns fan, so she and I spent many Sundays watching the Browns or listening to the Browns on the radio. And I love going past here because there's a Hall of Fame with some of the busts of some of the great Cleveland icons. And I know we have a love-hate relationship with this team. We love the team, but we hate it when they lose. But Cleveland Browns have some of the longest history, some really interesting facts. You know, we were the first professional team to break the barrier for Black Americans to play. When Paul Brown, head coach Paul Brown, hired Marion Motley and Bill Willis to play, and both Bill Willis and Marion Motley became Pro Bowls. They're in the Pro Bowl Hall of Fame, so they were Hall of Famers. Probably one of the best quarterbacks in all of NFL history was Otto Graham. I'm not sure if you remember Otto Graham, but Otto Graham did some amazing things on the football field at a time when football was not as big of an industry as we have now. Paul Brown, the first head coach of the Cleveland Browns, made all kinds of innovations. I'm not sure if you know this, but Paul Brown was one of the first ones to create the pocket to protect the quarterback. He was also the first person to literally created a face mask in the middle of a football game. In the first half of the football game, Otto Graham was running with the ball and got tackled, and somebody slammed him in the face and smashed his nose. So at halftime, Paul Brown asked for a slip of plastic and had the plastic bolted into either side of the helmet for Otto Graham, and he went out in the 3rd and 4th quarters and played with a busted up face and a face mask. But that was the very first face mask created here in Cleveland by Cleveland's own Paul Brown. And of course, true Clevelanders, diehard Clevelanders, remember Bernie, the young man who was born just outside of Cleveland and made it his mission to come back and play for our team in the 80s. And we almost got to the Super Bowl 3 times with Bernie, but we still love him just the same.
So I let Eric get on his soapbox for a bit, but as we head over the East Bank, we're traveling along the North Bank of the Warehouse District. And if you were here with us right now, you would notice that there are countless opportunities for residential places for folks to live within walking distance of the city. It's a great area where people work, exercise, play, and meet up with friends. Many of these residences are in converted warehouses, which is how this area earned its name. It's part of some of the big attractions that are bringing more and more young professionals to Cleveland, and that's good news for our city and good news for all of us.
You know, it's an example, again, of an idea that we talked of earlier, of repurposing, rethinking, rejuvenating. Because it's very easy for these buildings to just get destroyed, but they haven't been. They've been maintained, they've been renovated, they're brand new, they're here for a new generation of Clevelanders to make their history. And we can walk around and celebrate their history.
So right now,
yes, I feel the trolley going down. We're heading down to the flat.
We're passing under the Memorial Shoreway? Yeah.
Right above us.
Oh, there we are. Okay. So you're going to notice a little less of Cleveland's past and see an impressive conglomeration of what's new. Right now, we'll be passing the Port of Cleveland and the Ernst & Young building.
They're all around.
Right as we go down. So keep in mind that businesses and residences are key ways to sustaining this entertainment destination that's springing up in this area. And we're going to
Port Authority is right behind you, bro. So right in front of you right now, to your right is going to be Port Authority over there, which is still in use today. I mean, we still have goods and things coming along Lake Erie.
There's Brown Stadium again.
There is Brown Stadium in all its glory.
And then the EMI building. No, it's right there.
Oh, it's behind.
It's hard to see behind
in front
us.
of you.
Yeah.
So we're heading down into the flats, into the east bank of the flats. So this is the second part of our tour. We had mentioned that we'll be doing the North Coast Harbor. We're also hitting the east bank of the flats. Now this is a part of Cleveland that has had all kinds of history because it was a vibrant part of Cleveland's early history as goods came along the Erie Canal and came over here to Lake Erie and then would go on to the Ohio and Erie Canal. So all kinds of industries grew up around here, which then sprouted other industries. Then in the 20th century, of course, we know that it was turned into an entertainment section that had its life, and now it's been re-envisioned into a new place to have all kinds of new restaurants and new establishments,
And so
like
Margaritaville.
Margaritaville.
And then you'll also see Jimmy Buffett fans. Okay,
That's Margaritaville for Jimmy Buffett fans with
and
their green
Punch
and their
Bowl
blue.
Social.
Punch Bowl Social.
And
I love Punch Bowl Social because they also support Cleveland artists. So we've had friends who have performed with their groups or as solo artists in Punch Bowl.
Yep. And behind Punch Bowl, there's a dueling piano bar called the Big Bang.
Yep.
Backyard bocce, where you can play Magnolia. I think it doubles as a speakeasy at a dance club. Delicious cocktails. And Beerhead. Yep. And then Alley Cat. And then Lizzie's Lake House is right here. So
There's the Thirsty Dog.
Thirsty Dog. I mean, this is just a great place to hang out. Lots of outdoor dining. So if you're looking for a break and some good food and a beautiful view of the flats, this is the place.
So the flats have, as I mentioned, a really important part of Cleveland history. I'll mention really quickly the canals. So the canal, the Ohio and Erie Canal, sprouted off of the next to the Cuyahoga River, just to your back right now. And the Ohio and Erie Canal, which was constructed between the mid-1820s and 1830s, really transformed Cleveland and Ohio.
And there's
really
a
put
good
us on the
view,
spot.
a front view of the EMI building. Yeah, better view. Sorry.
That's all right. The EY building, the EY, Ernst & Young has really been a stalwart in supporting industry in Cleveland. They're a modern form of industry in Cleveland. But in the mid-19th century, about 1850s, the canals were really kind of like the turnpike of the country, in that all the goods would come from New York City, go through the Erie Canal, through the Great Lakes to Cleveland, and then go down the Ohio and Erie Canal to Portsmouth, along the Ohio River, on to Cincinnati. So Cleveland and the Ohio Erie Canal were kind of like a turnpike for goods coming up and down. And of course that just sprouted all kinds of new development for the city.
So we're still in the warehouse district, and I'm going to give a shout out to some folks that we didn't get to talk about when we came up the other air. We want to make sure that we mention some really intriguing hangouts with awesome names where folks hang out: the Dive Bar, the Barley House, the Velvet Dog, Gillespie's Map Room, which is offers specialty hot dogs, funnel cakes, fries, and breakfast pizza, and also has, this is my favorite report, a Gappy Hour that you can bring your
pooch.
Your dog.
We have a dog
too.
named Clarence, so Clarence would love it.
A maximum of 2 drinks.
Oh, for
Yeah,
Clarence?
no more. Yep, for Clarence.
Yes, of course, yeah. Well, Clarence likes his water.
And two glasses of water.
So now we've talked I got passionate about the Browns for a little bit, but I'll talk about baseball some. You know, we have, as I mentioned, this love-hate relationship. We often remember our losses, and one of the the baseball team from back in the late 19th century was the Cleveland Spiders, and the Cleveland Spiders unfortunately were not that good either. I believe in the year 1899 their record was something like 30 wins and 134 losses. But as we start to envision what the new name for this baseball team will be in the 21st century, Spiders is one of the ones we can think of. It is part of our history. And, you know, wouldn't it be cool if we had, like, come to our nest, where the spiders will come and get you?
So, we also have a little bit of more Cleveland trivia. So, does anyone know why it's called the Flats? Do you know why?
No, why is it called the Flats?
I don't know. You're supposed to know.
Well, because it's one of the flattest places in all of Cleveland. So it's one of the flats.
Low-lying.
Yes, it's a low-lying area where the water maintains a low consistency. And you can see we're right now up above the flats and the Cuyahoga River. Adora mentioned briefly the Good Time 3. Good Time 3 is an aquatic way to get to know Cleveland. Part of the journey on the Good Time 3 is to go down the Cuyahoga River. Cuyahoga River, as I understand it, was called Crooked River. And you can really see that from this vista as it kind of winds its way around. And it goes underneath Hope Memorial Bridge. And we just passed a brand new banner that highlights one of the components of the Hope Memorial Bridge, and those are the Guardians of Transportation. It's a wonderful banner
And
of
the
them.
Guardians are hanging on the Tower City complex. I just wanted to point out that they're past Tower City.
Yes.
So tell us about the Guardians.
The Guardians there's 8 different Guardians along Hope Memorial Bridge, and each one holds a different form of transportation. They were created by stonemasons as part of the decorative component of the Hope Memorial Bridge. Now, we are coming upon the field house. We passed the field house for the Cavaliers, Rocket Memorial Field House. And because we're such huge fans of professional sports in Cleveland, all around us right now are a number of establishments. So Dora, do you know what the
Buffalo Wild Wings, Gateway Bar, Bar and Grill, Winking Lizard, the Thirsty Parrot, Panini's, the Clevelanders, City Tap, and there's more.
Yes.
But I can't name them all. But again, everybody has their favorite watering hole here, and it's so convenient because you can jump out of seeing a basketball game or a hockey game, and then find your place to hang out right there.
Absolutely. We're going to be turning onto East 9th Street. I wanted to mention a bit of Cleveland history. You know, we mentioned the Crooked River, and of course we all know that the Crooked River caught fire back in the early 70s. But the good thing about that Cleveland history is that it spawned a brand new environmental movement that transformed the country in many ways. As the Clean Water Act really brought awareness to the things that our responsibility to the community and to the environment plays in the role of the city. Oh,
I got a second trivia question.
Yes.
What industry was crucial to the rise and development of the flats during
Yes.
the 19th and 20th centuries? And this is one, again, that touches Cleveland families. If you're from Cleveland, you have someone who participated in this industry. And it is...
They are. The questions are an aquarium, a water trolley. The answers are an aquarium, a water trolley to take people from the east bank to the west bank.
This is the industry.
Oh, what's that?
This is the steel industry.
Oh, the steel. Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were asking the other trivia question.
So the trivia question is, I'm going to start again. What industry influenced Cleveland and the development of the flats more than any other industry? And most of us have family members who participated in this industry, so you should know right away that it is the
Steel industry.
Yeah. And I think everyone I know who's born and raised in Cleveland has had someone work at Republic Steel, J&L, LTV Steel, ISG, and Mattel. They've all made their homes in the flats at some point.
You have an uncle who worked at LTV Steel.
I did.
Yes, indeed. So we have a connection there, and connections to other institutions. Cleveland was also is a place of great commerce. The Halley Building we just passed just now was one of the iconic department stores here in Cleveland. My Aunt Kay, my great Aunt Kay, worked in the Halley Building in the restaurant. She was the soup woman. The Halley Building is now a place of residence, as the K&D management has a number of places in that facility that you can use as your home.
The residents at Halley's. The population of this building is pretty diverse: singles, couples, young adults, even empty nesters, which we hope one day to be. People are drawn to the homey features. Eric's favorite is
there's a fireplace in each dining room, each living room. Sorry,
that would
maybe
be
there's
great.
one in the dining room too. But each living room has its own fireplace, and there's a washer and a dryer in each facility, in each unit.
In each unit. And this is such a great place because instead of curling up and watching Netflix, you can literally walk out and be in some of the greatest entertainment and resources that our city has to offer. So we hope you enjoyed our trip through North Coast Harbor and the east bank of the Flats.
We want to thank you very much. We also want to thank our friends at Downtown Cleveland Alliance for the opportunity to celebrate Cleveland through the Sparks tours. We want to thank our wonderful driver, Brian, our wonderful friend, Betty Brooks, who has done wonderful support for this group. And we hope that we might have inspired you to come out and investigate another part of Cleveland in the North Coast Harbor, or on the east bank of the Cuyahoga River, or one of the other Sparks tours that we've gone on. If so, put on your comfortable shoes and a mask and enjoy the city safely and happily. Thank you.